Great. We have 10 people, it looks like. I'm very sorry.
Yes.
You can hear me. Patricia, thank you very much. And thank you, Antonio. Very welcome to this presentation on Ladybird readers. Thank you, Edelaine. I am very sorry for the technical problems we have had. It stopped us from getting started when we liked. Thank you very much. Hello, Erica. Thank you very, very much for joining us for this and for your patience in sticking around. I would love to tell you a little bit this afternoon about our Ladybird Readers series. It's a brand new series of ELT graded readers which help young students enjoy reading English. We're very passionate about this and we think we've got a great series and we'd love to tell you a little bit more about it this afternoon. So our series, we have, oh yes, before I start, could I ask if you have any questions for us, please feel free to type them and we'll try to get to those at the end. I've got a colleague here called Sophie, and Sophie can answer some of your questions as we go along. If you could please type your questions in English, that would be very helpful to us. Your English is a lot better than our Portuguese. So if you could type your questions as we go, that would be great. Sophie will answer a few. I'll try to get to a few at the end as well. So back to our presentation. As you can see on the screen, we have got a unique series. It's unlike any ELT graded reading series I've seen. We have a fantastic mix of original stories that reflect young children's interests, from football in John's football team, singing and dancing in the talent show, and superheroes in Superhero Max. Some great original stories. We have some well-known fairy tales that students may be familiar with in their own language. Stories such as Cinderella, Little Red Riding Hood, and Hansel and Gretel. We've got some classic stories that children may know from films such as The Jungle Book, The Wizard of Oz, and The Little Mermaid. And we have some brilliant non-fiction, which are great for older students, perhaps with lower language levels, on subjects such as sharks, wild animals, and space. I should just say at this point, if anybody has difficulty in understanding me, or if I'm speaking too quickly, please let me know and I'll slow down and try to sort out my strange Irish accent so that you can understand me a little better. Back to our series, we have this fantastic mix of original stories, fairy tales, classic stories, and non-fiction. But the thing that we're really excited about is our recognizable characters and amazing brands. Characters and brands that children all over the world love, such as Peppa Pig, Peter Rabbit, a film of which is coming out next year, starring James Corden as Peter Rabbit. We've got My Little Pony. There's a film of that coming out later this year. It looks very good. We have Transformers in our series. There are a lot of Transformers films that I'm sure your students have seen. And we also have some incredible non-fiction in partnership with BBC Earth, some really breathtaking photographs and video content that help your students engage with the subject in English. So let's tell you a little bit about our leveling in the series. We currently have 5 levels going from starter through to level 4. We map these very carefully to the CEFR framework, as well as mapping them to the Cambridge Young Learner exams. Every title has a Lexile level. We map to accelerated reader, PYP, thematic mapping, and we can map to pretty much any syllabus that you would like us to. Just get in touch and let us know what is the most useful way for us to show the leveling of our series. Just to tell you a little bit more about our levels, at the starter level, which is pre-A1 in the CEFR scale, we anticipate that students at about 4 or 5 years old would be reading these books. And level 4 would probably take students up to about 8 or 9 years old, depending on the language level. Next year, in 2018, we're very excited to be adding 3 new levels to the series. Before starter, we will have a beginner level which features Spot the dog, who is a very famous and well-loved character. And then we'll be adding levels 5 and 6 to the top of the series. And this allows us to have a book for every child at primary level, from the very beginning of primary school to the very end of primary school. You can stay with Ladybird Readers and find a story that's suitable for your students. Our levels 5 and 6 will be covering, as I say, ages about 10 or 11, and it'll feature really popular stories like The Wind in the Willows, Treasure Island, Frankenstein, and again, some more fantastic non-fiction from the BBC. So, as you can see on this slide, we have a huge number of resources that help you get the most out of the readers. At every level, we have a reader and an accompanying, sorry, my English is terrible, accompanying activity book. We also have flashcards, which are really great resources for teachers to introduce some difficult vocabulary to students. We have these available at every level from starter to level 4. Oh, we've just been joined by Rachel. Hello, Rachel. Oh, Raphael, I apologize. Again, I should emphasize my English is terrible. Sorry, Raphael, hello. I was just saying, Raphael, when you joined us, that we have a fantastic array of resources available in this series, from the reader, the activity book, the flashcards, online on our website, www.ladybirdeducation.co.uk. We have lesson plans, answer keys for all the activities in the reader and in the activity book. We have assessment tests, and we have play scripts at the starter level. We've got starter user guides and user guides for levels 1 to 4, which really help you get the most out of the series and give you a bit of a suggestion on how to use the readers in the classroom. Parents get an idea on how to use the readers at home. And also we have leveling and assessment tests, which help you to know exactly which level the students need to start reading at. So if you think that your students are at A1, for example, you may not know whether they should start at level 2 or level 3. You can use our assessment tests and our leveling tests to get an idea of exactly where your students should start. We've had a question here to see if we can do a live demo of the website, sharing the screen. I'm going to give it a go. So here we go. We've had some technical problems, as I'm sure you know. So this could go well, or it could be a funny story we all tell later on. Let's see, ladybirdeducation.co.uk. It looks like it's going to work. Here we are. So I hope you can all see that. Can you see all of the screen? So oh, you see what I can. Okay, so let's see if we can make this a little more manageable. How is that? Is that okay? Taking a little while to load. I'll go slowly. Fantastic. Well, welcome to the Ladybird Education website. This covers not just our international ELT series, we also have some of our information on our series that students in the UK use, famous schemes like Keywords and Read It Yourself. But today I really want to focus on Ladybird Readers with you. So I'm going to click into the series here. And you can see straight away that you have a link to buy books from this series. If you click here, it will direct you to your distributor in your country, which here in Brazil is SBS, who are very kindly hosting this webinar for us today. We also have some great videos and materials on the website which support every title. So as I scroll down, you can see all the different titles in the series. We currently have about 80 titles in the series, and we publish new titles every 6 months. So every 6 months you can see fantastic new stories from our well-loved characters and some of our brand new non-fiction, and we're always open to suggestions as well for new stories. If you think there's a story we should publish, please do get in touch. So I'm going to go quite slowly on here just to make sure that you can see everything that I'm seeing. So hopefully you can see a few of these titles here. And on the left of my screen, you can see all the different ways that you can search for titles. For example, by level. You can see again by our careful grading and mapping to the CEFR, you may know that your students are level 3 or level 4 or starter. You may want to search by age, so you can click on any of these and search by books suitable for children ages 4 to 10. You can search by reading level, beginner, intermediate, advanced. You can search by skill, whether a book tests reading skills or grammar skills. You can search by book subject. This is something I'll get back to a little bit later on, but we have a fantastic way of making it really easy for you to find the book that is just right for your classroom. If, for example, you're teaching about friendship or about family, you can search by topic, and you can see here family and friends. You can see animals, science and technology, a huge number of different topics that our books cover that will match whatever you're teaching in your classroom. You can also search by value. Values are very important, particularly in teaching young children, and we try to make it really easy for you to find a book that teaches the values that you want your young students to be imparted with. Preparing for exams, you can search, oh goodness me, it's all gone. There we go. You can search by Cambridge Young Learner level or by CEFR level. Again, that's through our very careful mapping to these different curriculums and different levelings. We've got word scales, so you can search by word count, by Lexile level, or by ATOS level. There we go. And you can also search by spelling. All of our Ladybird Reader series is in what we call international English. We understand different markets. Some prefer British English, some prefer American English. We try to get the best of both in our series, and we really take each word on a case-by-case basis. So for example, in United States, they would call what we call football soccer, but we've made a decision to call it football because we believe that is the term that is most widely used. So there's a little example. I'm going to click into a title and just show you the different resources we have. Not that one. Let's go with The Enormous Turnip, one of my favorite stories. The Enormous Turnip. Here we go. So as the page is loading, you can see the fantastic cover there and a little bit more about the story. So this one we reckon is intermediate level. You can see when it was published. It's paperback, 48 pages. We reckon about 5 years old would be the ideal age to enjoy this story. Although I'm 30 years old and I love it, and I'm sure you will too. The learning outcomes for this, you can identify a sequence of events. It tests the present tense and actions. So there's a little bit more about the story there. For those of you who don't know, it's a story about an old man who wants the turnip for his dinner. And he pulls and pulls, but the turnip is too big. So you'll have to read the story to see if he enjoys that turnip for his dinner. Down here, we show all the different information that you might need, the age range, the Lexile level, the CEFR level, and the Cambridge Young Learner level, starters there. And here's everything that you as teachers may need for this title. We have answer keys for the reader activities, answer keys for the activity book, which tests even more skills than in the reader, but I'll come to those skills in a moment, and a lesson plan for the enormous turnip. So let's have a little look at the lesson. In fact, I'm not going to be able to, because this is where you need to do a little bit of work. You need to set up an account. So you can, if you want to see these resources, set up your own account with your email address, your name, your password, what country you're in, what your role is. You can sign up to our brilliant Ladybird Education monthly newsletter. We have some fantastic giveaways where you can win books. You can hear all about our future publishing, and you can read some exclusive articles about our Ladybird and Puffin books. So that's a very brief introduction to what our website looks like. I'm going to move on with the rest of my presentation because we have a lot to get through. So can I just check that you can see the slideshow okay and it isn't impeded? Fantastic. Okay. So we've been through our resources, and I just want to emphasize again that our audio, which is available on the website you've just seen, is absolutely free in both British and American accents. We feel it's really important for your students to hear the stories and the words pronounced in different accents so that they're comfortable with pronouncing it themselves. So let's move on to the next slide. So what's available? We've just had a look at the website, and we've got some mapping documents there as well. And as I was saying, you can search by value, by reading skill, by grammar objective, or by vocabulary objective. You can search by theme, and you can search by title, because it may be the case that you have a favorite story that you want to share with your students, or it may just be that there is a character that your students love and you want to see all the books that we have with that character. You can do that all on our website. So now I want to go over a little bit on the skills that we cover in the series. In our readers, your students will practice writing, reading, speaking, critical thinking, preparation for the Cambridge Young Learners exams, and spelling. These are all skills that we practice in the reader activities. In the activity books, we practice all of these skills, but we also have listening activities, and we even have fun songs at the end of every activity book, so your students can sing along with you to the fun songs that we have had especially written for these books. So I want to take you a little bit through the series in more detail now. I want to start with the starter level, and we're going to have a little look inside the book. So let's see. So this is what our starter level readers look like. They're slightly different to the books at levels 1 to 4. They have an interest and a focus in phonics. For those of you who aren't familiar with phonics, that's really the sounds of the English language. So in our starter level, we have starter A and starter B. In starter A, we introduce students to the individual letter sounds. So for example, in starter A, your students will know what the letter T sounds like and the letter H sounds like. In starter B, we combine more letters together, and they learn what the different sounds are when those letters are combined. So they know T and they know H, and at starter B, they'll learn what T and H sound like together. We open every title with a picture words double spread. This introduces students to the sounds and the more difficult words that they might encounter in the story. The next part of the book, we show the story with the full story artwork and those words that students might find difficult. It's a very gradual, very gentle introduction to the story. The students learn these words, they become familiar with those words. And then in the second half of the book, We tell the story with the same artwork in full sentences. Again, it's the starter level, so the sentences are short, they're easy to read, and ultimately, we put a great focus on telling brilliant stories as well. These are really sweet stories, but they're very carefully graded to make sure that your young students can understand and enjoy them. So that's the story part of the book. We also have activities in the reader, and these match those skills that we talked about earlier, reading, writing, spelling, speaking. At the starter level, we don't practice for the Cambridge Young Learner exams because it's a bit too young. It's pre-A1, so this is really an introduction to the sounds and letters and words of the English language. Accompanying every reader, as I've said, we have an activity book, and this is what the activity book looks like. We have different activities in here. We start to practice listening skills, tracing skills, so that your students become familiar with actually writing and learning the shapes of the different letters. And as I mentioned before, my favorite thing is at the back of these books, we have a really fun chant at starter level. Not so much singing, but it's rhythmic chanting. It introduces students to pronunciation, to repetition, which really helps them become familiar with those sounds and words. So that's our starter level at a glance. And here's a more detailed look at the structure of it. I won't talk you through every title and every theme and focus sound, but I'll give you a moment just to take that in. Is that long enough? I'll give you another moment. Oh, fantastic. Okay, great. And Sophie, who's alongside me here, she knows the series very well, and she is particularly fond of the chant from Ted in Bed, which really, it's a good one. I recommend you try it out. Listen to it on the website, set up an account, and enjoy those chants and enjoy those songs. All right, so here is levels 1 to 4 of our series. Every level 1 to 4 reader opens in the same way. We've got those picture words again, like we do in the starter level. We introduce the words that children may not be familiar with just yet. And then we go straight into the great stories that we tell. These stories are just, from my personal point of view, I've seen a lot of reading schemes. There are some really good ones out there, but ours, we tell stories that children really want to read, characters they love, characters they've seen on TV or in films, and we help bring that enthusiasm that they have, that they see on screen, we bring it into the classroom and we bring it to home as well, where they can really enjoy reading in English. You can see that these readers look great, and I would really recommend that you get in touch with SBS and have a look at a few more samples of our books, because they are very enjoyable. So here are what the reader activities look like. Again, they practice all those skills: reading, writing, speaking, Cambridge Young Learner exams, and critical thinking. Critical thinking is a really big one. It's really testing that the children understand the story and can start inferring. They can start thinking about what is going on in the story, and yeah, beginning to think in English is a really important skill, and so those critical thinking exercises get them to do that. And here's what our activity books look like. Again, they test all the same skills, except we add listening and singing, and this is where the songs come in from levels 1 to 4. They are catchy. So moving on from here, we're going to talk a little more about the audio, and I can't emphasize enough just how free it is. It's brilliant that we have this free audio. You don't need to pay extra for it. You can log on and your students can hear for absolutely no cost what our stories sound like. We work with really great actors who are brilliant storytellers, and they really add an extra special something to the stories when they read them so enthusiastically. And hopefully, if this works, you can hear a little bit of each story, some of the listening exercises and the songs. So it's only a short little bit of audio, and I really hope this works. It's not working. Oh, here we go.
Cars. Picture words. Old car. Family car. Gas car. Special car.
So this is the picture words page, introducing difficult vocabulary.
Electric car. Racing car. Racing driver. I love cars.
So
There are lots of cars. I am a racing driver. I love driving. I drive fast cars.
So you can hear there that the actor is really putting an emphasis on making the words nice and clear for your students, making sure that they can understand each word, hear each individual sound in each word, but it still sounds very natural. It doesn't sound forced. It doesn't sound too slow. It's just right. I'm going to try a couple of these other ones. It's a shame if I can't get them to work. Is that working at all? It doesn't seem to be working. I'm very sorry, folks. I would have loved to have played some audio for you, but you can listen to it yourself, and you can listen to all of our stories, and you can play them for your students. You can play them for your own children. Again, go to www.ladybirdeducation.co.uk. So I'll move on from the audio. Once again, apologies that didn't work. I'd like to tell you a little bit more about some of the extra resources that we have available. The students can really enjoy the readers. They can enjoy the activities in the activity books and the songs in the activity books. The flashcards, as we talked about before, are a great resource that you can use in the classroom. They're hard copies of cards that you can hold up. You can play games with them. These are resources that we have, though, available online just for you. We've got 2 user guides. We've got one for the starter level, which, as I said before, is just a little bit different to everything we have at levels 1 to 4. We've got that more gradual approach where we introduce the vocabulary, then we have the stories. And that starter level, how to use Ladybird Reader's Guide, really gives you ideas on how to use those in the classroom, ideas for activities before you start reading, while you're reading, and after you're reading. Also a little bit of information about why it's good to use graded readers with students. It also gives you an idea of what extra resources we have available, which I'm going to go into in a bit more detail now. We have the How to Use Ladybird Reader's Guide. That's for levels 1 to 4, and that's much of the same information, but it just matches up to that slightly different structure of those books at levels 1 to 4. We have lesson plans for teachers. If you're unsure on how to use readers with your class, we've done a lot of the work for you. We tell you what you can get out of your lesson with students, ideas for activities, and what subject areas these stories cover, and how you can use them perhaps in slightly different lessons outside of your English class too. Sorry. Yes, differentiation. Yes, absolutely. Sorry, folks, one moment, please. Oh, yes, of course. Sorry. Sophie said a word to me and I panicked. But actually what she was saying was that we have ideas for if a student in your class reads perhaps a little quicker than the rest, or if you have a student who needs a little bit more support using the readers and is a little bit slower as well. We have ideas for you on how to use these books with all of your students of all different ability levels. We have answer keys available for the readers and for the activity book activities. These are available on our website. Hopefully, I don't think your students should be able to find them, but these just make sure that you know and you're very comfortable and confident when you're marking these activities that you're always getting the right answer. And at the starter level, we have play scripts, these really adorable, very short, very accessible stories that your students can perform in the classroom. They can pretend to be Ted, the alien. They can pretend to be Dr. Panda and Dom Dog, and loads of really interesting characters and very adorable characters that we have at the starter level. And it's very rewarding and very fun for your young students to be able to perform these in the classroom for their friends. I should also mention that these extra resources are great. We also have top tips videos on the website. It really is worth just taking a little bit of time after this webinar to go onto the website and really have a look around at all those different resources. You can watch our videos, you can listen to our audio, you can have a look at the user guides and the lesson plans. And if you have any questions, please do get in touch with us at Ladybird or with SBS, who I'm sure can help with a lot of your questions too. But check out those top tips videos. They are really useful for teachers who are just beginning to use readers for ideas on what to do in the classroom. Even more resources, as if you thought we couldn't have any more, we do. You can use these leveling tests to find out what level your students should be at, and we have answer keys for these tests too, and these give you an idea of what level your students should be reading at. These assessment tests are really useful for when you're reading in the series and you want to make sure that all your students are familiar and confident with the vocabulary and grammar that we introduce at each new level. And these are fun. We have some classroom resources as well. If you contact SBS, you can get some of these brilliant resources for your classroom. We have posters with fun games and ideas for activities and speaking. Great fun posters, very colorful. They would look brilliant on your classroom wall. We've got activity sheets where you can make finger puppets, you can make crowns, you can make Peter Rabbit ears. So if your students want to pretend, want to play at being the characters in the stories they read, you can get these activity sheets from SBS. And lastly, we've got some lovely stickers. Kids love stickers. I love stickers. These are great stickers. Some of them have very positive messages like I love reading. Some of them just have our really fun Ladybird mascot, our little Ladybird, who really is the champion of our series. You can get those on a sticker as well. Do contact SBS or visit your local SBS store to get those resources. So we're almost done. Just to summarize, Ladybird Readers launched last year. We publish new books every 6 months. We have about 80 titles in the series currently. Every reader has an activity book and additional materials to support. These books provide teachers with a series designed to enthuse, motivate, and encourage children to develop a love of learning and a love of the English language, which can be really important for them as they grow up. The series is supported and has expertise from one of the world's leading children's publishers. Ladybird is an imprint of Penguin Random House. We have some of the best loved characters in the world. We have the best editors, the best artists, the best authors, designers, salespeople, production staff. We are a fantastic company. We have so much expertise and we really know how to put together a great book. That is Ladybird Readers. We really hope you like the series. Do contact SBS if you want to see any. visit our website, www.ladybirdeducation.co.uk, and have a look at all of our resources. Thank you so much for taking the time to spend with us this afternoon. If anybody has any questions, I can stick around for a moment, but if not, thank you so much. Apologies for the technical difficulties at the start. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you this afternoon. So do let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your evening. It's a lovely evening in Sao Paulo here, so enjoy yourselves wherever you are. Thank you very much, and goodbye. Hello again, it's me, I'm back. We've had a question from Priscilla. Priscilla wants to know, how can we use the readers in class? Antonio, thank you very much for that lovely comment. It was an absolute pleasure speaking with you. Thank you, Maria. So Priscilla wants to know, how can we use readers in class? We understand that most English classes, you haven't got a lot of time always, and very often you'll work with course books. Readers can be part of a class library. Children can read them in their spare time. You can read the story to your students, and with our lesson plans, you've got loads of ideas for activities that you can do with your students before you read the book, while you're reading the book, and after you read the book as well. We have loads of ideas for games. We have loads of ideas for role plays and for telling their own stories, drawing their own characters. We have tests that we can test students' understanding of vocabulary and grammar. And we can also use the stories to map to other subjects that you're exploring in your classroom. If you're exploring the world around you, if you're exploring the natural world, learning about animals or the environment, you can find a book in our series that will support that subject that you're teaching as well. You can also read out or play the recording of the story, and as you read or listen, point to the characters on the page. You can play matching games where you get 2 cards for the picture words and place these face down, and you can encourage students to try to find a matching pair, or you can lay out a number of cards on the desk and say a piece of vocabulary and ask students to find that word, to make sure that they understand the vocabulary. They're just a few very small ideas that we have. Again, look on our website at those top tips videos. They give you everything you need to know to use the series in the classroom. Priscilla has another question on how parents can be a part of this. We understand that not all parents are going to have a great level of English as well. It would be brilliant if parents could read the stories with their children at home. That would be lovely. If the parents aren't confident, though, reading English, enjoy the audio on the website. Listen to the story in a British accent. Listen to the story in an American accent. And we also have a top tips video for using the readers at home. You can look in our user guides on our website, which have more information on using the readers at home or in the classroom. And the activity book is another great way that students and parents can work together to do some of the fun activities, listen to the songs. They could even sing the songs together. That would be fun. So thank you very much. Thank you, Maria, and thank you, Elaine, for your very kind comments. It's been lovely. Thank you, Antonio. Do we have any other questions? I think not. Well, thank you again, everyone. It's been really fun speaking to you this afternoon. Do contact SBS if you want any more information about the series. Have a look at www.ladybirdeducation.co.uk and get in touch with us at Ladybird in London. We would love to hear what you think of the website. We would love to hear what you think of our stories. We would love to hear what you think of our top tips videos. Any thoughts you have on the series, anything that you would like to see in our series, anything you'd like to see more of, please do let us know. Thank you again. Have a lovely evening.